Hi there, my name is Matthew Verco. I am a married celebrant and MC based here in South Australia. I'm going to talk about music on your wedding day because there's lots of TikToks out there, there's lots of short form Instagram stories, but I'm going to go through the whole of your music and talk about some of those recommendations, some of the things you can do. But obviously, it's very much up to you and what you want your wedding day to look like and sound like. Not a DJ, but I've sat behind the DJ decks for, I don't know, somewhere in the vicinity of probably 200 weddings. So, how do we look at that? Also, as a marriage celebrant, I talked to you about your music, your music selection. So, I'm probably going to talk about Spotify playlists the most. Because if you've got live musicians, it can change a little bit, but just to keep it simple. So, I'm going to give you a brief outline and then I'm going to go into each of those sections. But here's your playlist for your day. You've got a pre-ceremony playlist. You've got a post-ceremony canapé playlist. You've got a background music playlist for your reception. You've got an upbeat music playlist for your reception. Then you've got your dance floor recommendations. And that's kind of it. That's your playlist. And then you've got sort of music selections throughout the day. You've got ceremony entrances, signing songs, ceremony exit or the confetti song. Then you've got reception entrances. You've got your formal dancing, so that could be your first dance and any other sort of VIP dances. You've got some selection for games in there also. And then you've got the end of your night. That could be just a final song. It could be an archway or a sparkler exit. It could be a private last dance. But I'll talk about the end of your night also. So from start to finish, playlists and song selections in there as well. Let's start with your playlist for your ceremony. So we're going to start with that pre-ceremony playlist. And this can be whatever you want. I typically say, provide me an hour worth of music for your Spotify playlist. You know, typically couples choose an acoustic or they might choose strings, some violin or something in there. You can choose noisy music. You can choose whatever you want, whatever your vibe is. It can be upbeat, absolutely. What is the vibe of your day? What do you want it to sound like? But an hour's worth of music, and then I'll play that through my speaker system. Up next, we've got the entrances. Now, you can start your ceremony however you want. There doesn't have to be a formal entrance, but you need to work out who is going to make an entrance for your ceremony. Is it person one? Is it person two? Is there wedding parties in there? Is there kids in there? Is there any flower nanas? Is there people handing out shots? What does that look like? And then you can determine what your ceremony entrance music might look at. So let's talk typically. So generally one person will be at the ceremony space and then one person will make an aisle entrance. Now that changes. We've seen couples come in together. We've seen wedding parties not come in and just one person. Whatever works for you is how you should start your ceremony. So for example, you could have person, one and their wedding party come into one song. You could then have a little pause, have a little break. Celebrant goes and checks on wedding party number two and person number two. They come back in. Wedding party two and person number two come into the same song. They could come into separate songs. It's honestly, it's whatever works for you. You just need to have that order and ensure your celebrant or whoever is playing the music knows. Signings is an interesting part. You can either pause your ceremony during, so after that kiss, pause the ceremony, go and sign your certificates, and I always recommend 2 to 3 songs in that part. Otherwise, you do that kiss, get ready for your exit, get out of there, and then somewhere post-ceremony, you go and sign your certificates, where that means you don't need a song in there. And then that ceremony exit, that's where it's something nice and upbeat, something joyful, something we can throw that confetti nice and high in the air. Then that really kicks off the after party because your ceremony is the party. That's my favourite part of the day, and it should be your favourite part of the day. From there, we're going to roll into some canapé music, maybe a couple of hours or so. Same thing, Spotify. Get those nice vibes pumping. We're not talking Dom Dollar at that point, although you can if you want. But something a little more upbeat, gets the people going. Nice sunny afternoon, some drinks, beautiful. From there, we're going to roll into your reception. Now, if you've got a DJ, and they all do things differently, they might want a bit of a vibe check for what you want your background to sound like. Some will mix through that point, some will just put on a soundtrack. It all depends on the DJ you play for. Really important if you do have a Spotify playlist only, You need to work out the order of this and have these playlists labeled. So you've got that background music, probably a couple of hours, and then you are going to move into upbeat background. That's a couple of hours, and then your dance floor. If you're doing Spotify only, you need to order that playlist so you get a nice flow like a DJ would. Very important, you're going to put on that crossfade up to 12 seconds so you don't get any lagging time in between. But you're going to start with some of those, get everybody on the dance floor, and then you're going to weave through the genres and then get your bangers at the end of the night or your sing-alongs. But we're going to come back to the reception entrances. If you are doing more than one entrance, you need more than one song. So you might have Wedding Party 1, Wedding Party 2, and then the newlyweds, different songs, different cue points, different energies. Really important. I really dislike when it's one song. So you might do September by Earth, Wind and Fire, and you just fade it up, fade it down. Now, if I do one song, I'm always going to pick a cue point for the newlyweds to come into. So the ultimate banging part of that song, high energy, get people singing, get that energy going. That's really, really important. But my recommendation is always to choose different songs, bring different energy, get that nice trajectory towards the newlyweds coming in, and kick off that biggest party you've ever been to on an absolute bang. Here's the interesting part. So you can do formal dancing straight away. You could do, for example, a first dance straight after that entrance. So you're going to need a first dance song there. Or you could roll into an entrance dance or 2 or 3 songs, high energy, keep it moving, get everyone on the dance floor, enjoy that afternoon wine, short turnaround, and then sit them down and have something to eat. Up next, you might have games, for example. So might do some speeches in there. Don't necessarily need any music for that. Obviously, your background either side. But the games, and I would suggest tend to leave that with your MC or your DJ. Scavenger Hunt is one that you might coordinate the songs to the items that you're finding. Table photo challenge is another one. Different songs for each time a different table comes up, for example. Bring that different energy, pumps people up, get a bit of competition going. Shoe game, you don't really need anything. I'd prefer you don't have music on during the shoe game so people can hear, they can engage, they can interact with the couple. There might be a few other games in there depending on the music style. Then it's into your VIP dances. So as we spoke about, if you do a first dance at the start of the night, obviously that's gone, it's out of the way. But if you happen to do it after speeches, before you kick off a dance, or that first dance is a song, here's the trick. Here's the most important piece of information. Don't think you have to pick a short song because you have to dance to the full song. Your DJ, your MC are there to look after you. So you might nominate a time. That could be 20 seconds, 40 seconds, a minute, minute and a half, 2 minutes. Let us know what time you want us to fade in and fade out of the song. But here's the trick. If you give us a minute and a half and a minute in, you're like, nah, we are just not enjoying this. You're going to look over at your MC. You're going to give them a little nod. All right, family and friends, big round of applause for our newlyweds tonight. We're going to get everyone on that dance floor now. We're going to get you out of there. We're going to look after you so you don't feel the pressure anymore to perform. We want you to enjoy that first dance, not be an expectation of the night. Of course, there's VIP dances. That could be with a parent, could be with someone special, could be a grandparent, could be with kids potentially. You don't have to do those, but whatever dancing you're doing, you need to let us know. You could have potentially both parents come on, and that could be through the same song, could be separate songs. You just let us know what you want and we'll play that. And then it's dance all time. My suggestion always with a DJ is you give some recommended songs, but give them the power to read the crowd, to play to the crowd, to bring that energy. And then what you're going to do, they're going to keep an eye on a list that has a must play songs and do not play song. The example I always give is Eagle Rock. That's either a must play, we're like, yeah, we need Eagle Rock for obvious reasons, or no, we don't want Eagle Rock for obvious reasons. Must play and do not play. Do not play can also be something that you might have a negative memory to it. We don't want to play that. We don't want to bring that mood down. So that's really important. And then the end of the night. Depending on how the end of the night looks, it will depend on what time you need to start playing that last song, so that you don't have music going over, the music curfew. So if you have a private dance, you're going to need to bring that time ahead quite a bit. Depends how many people you have also will depend on that. If you've got 30 people, it doesn't take as long to get them out for a Spark X, but if you've got 150, it just takes time. So generally how we do it, we announce the last song of the night, get everyone on the dance floor. We might get people outside for a sparkler exit. You do a quick private dance, and then we go out and do your sparkler exit, or you can flip them. You can do your final song, get everyone outside for that sparkler exit, and then once everyone's gone, you come back inside for your final private dance of the night. Otherwise, if you don't want an exit, you don't want to do private dance, you just play that last song of the night. That's it, family and friends. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. That's it, night over. So really simple. There's some defined playlists in there. There's some music that you do need, but there's also things you don't need. You don't have to do a first dance. There's no expectations, so you don't need a song there. If you move your signing to after your ceremony, well, you don't need some signing songs there as well. Be creative, think about what is most important to you, and have some fun with your ceremony music or your wedding music. Grab a bottle of red, make a date night out of it, listen to some music. Or just over time, create some playlists and pop a song or two in. So over time you build a playlist up, and then as you get closer, refine it. That is my wrap up of music for your wedding.